early 5th century BCE, the Hellenic world was a collection of independent city-states, often at odds. Yet a colossal shadow loomed from the east. The vast Persian Empire, under Xerxes I, turned its gaze towards the fractured lands of Greece, threatening to engulf all of Europe. Athens, a burgeoning democracy, faced an existential choice. Their powerful neighbor, Sparta, favored land-based warfare, relying on its formidable hoplite phalanx. But one Athenian, the shrewd and often unpopular Themistocles, saw the future not on dusty plains, but on the unforgiving sea, uniquely clear-sighted in his vision. A stroke of unforeseen fortune aided his radical naval plan. Rich silver veins were discovered in Laurion, southeast of Athens. The usual practice was to distribute this sudden wealth among citizens, but Themistocles argued fiercely, proposing a different, audacious use for these unexpected riches: funding a massive fleet. He persuaded the Athenians to invest the silver in building a massive fleet of triremes, the most advanced warships of the age. This wasn't for immediate defense, but for a looming threat he alone seemed to fully grasp: a Persian return. It was a gamble of immense proportions. These triremes were not just boats. They were complex, powerful weapons designed for speed, agility, and ramming enemy vessels with their bronze-clad prows. Each ship required over 100 rowers, demanding incredible coordination and endurance. Building such a fleet transformed Athenian society, fostering a new, formidable naval identity among its citizens. Despite his foresight, Themistocles was a controversial figure. He was ostracized once, a testament to the Athenian fear of individuals wielding too much power. Yet, his return to prominence was driven by an undeniable crisis. The Persian war machine was once again on the move. The invasion arrived with a fury Greece had never seen. Xerxes I, commanding an army and navy of unprecedented scale, swept through northern Greece, his forces numbering in the hundreds of thousands. The sheer size of the Persian force was designed to crush all opposition through overwhelming numbers and psychological terror, eradicating any defiance. The heroic stand of the Spartans and allies at Thermopylae bought precious time, but it was merely a delaying action. The Persian advance was relentless, nearing Athens itself. The fate of Athens, and indeed all of Greece, hung by a precarious thread. The strategy needed to change dramatically, and fast. The Athenians consulted the oracle at Delphi, receiving ambiguous prophecies of wooden walls that would save them. Some interpreted this as the Acropolis's ancient wooden palisade. Themistocles, however, saw deeper, connecting it directly to his years of naval preparation and the fleet he had so carefully championed. He argued passionately that the wooden walls were their ships, and that Athens itself must be abandoned. This was a radical, terrifying idea, forsaking their homes, their sacred temples, their very heritage. But Themistocles' unwavering conviction and logical arguments eventually swayed a terrified populace. As the Persians entered Athens, they found an empty city. The temples were razed, the city plundered, a stark symbol of devastation and conquest. But the people were safe, ferried to the island of Salamis, their lives secured by the very fleet Themistocles had championed, a testament to his foresight. With Athens burning in the distance, the Greek forces, a nervous coalition of city-states, gathered near Salamis. Disagreement was rife. Many allied commanders wished to retreat to the Isthmus of Corinth, a seemingly more defensible position on land. Themistocles knew this would be a fatal error, leading to certain defeat. He understood that the confined waters around Salamis were crucial. The narrow straits would negate the Persian fleet's overwhelming numerical advantage. their sheer size becoming a liability in the cramped space. However, convincing his conservative allies, especially the Spartans, of this bold plan was a monumental task. In a daring and controversial move, Themistocles sent a trusted slave to Xerxes. The message: the Greeks were in disarray and planning to slip away, urging the great king to trap them in the straits. It was a calculated deception, a masterful piece of psychological warfare. Xerxes, eager to decisively crush the Greek resistance and end the war, fell for the ruse. He ordered his vast fleet to block both entrances to the Salamis Straits, confidently eager to witness the annihilation of the Greek fleet from his commanding golden throne overlooking the battle. At dawn, the trap was sprung, but not on the Greeks. The massive Persian fleet found itself crammed into the constricted waters. Their superior numbers became a hindrance, their ships colliding and losing formation. The mist and morning light added to the confusion. The Greek triremes, smaller and more agile, exploited this chaos. They executed precise maneuvers, ramming the vulnerable sides of the lumbering Persian vessels. The narrow space prevented the Persian archers from effectively firing, turning their numerical strength into a chaotic, unmanageable weakness against the disciplined Greek attack. The battle became a bloody melee. Persian ships were systematically sunk, rammed or boarded in quick succession. The sea turned red with their blood and debris. The efficiency of the Greek fleet, honed by years of training, proved devastating against the disorganized and trapped Persian might, securing a decisive advantage. From his golden throne overlooking the straits, Xerxes watched in horror as his naval supremacy shattered before his eyes. The wooden walls of Athens were not only defending Greece, they were actively dismantling the very foundation of his invasion, sinking his hopes of conquering the Hellenic world. By day's end, the Persian fleet was utterly routed, suffering catastrophic losses. One of history's most decisive naval victories had been won. The Battle of Salamis crippled Xerxes' ability to supply his vast army, forcing him to reconsider his entire campaign against Greece, marking a critical turning point. Though the war continued on land for another year, Salamis was the undeniable turning point. Xerxes, fearing his escape route by sea would be cut off by the victorious Greek fleet, withdrew the bulk of his forces from Greece, returning to Persia. The immediate threat of Persian conquest had been averted, saving Greek independence. Themistocles, the architect of this astonishing victory, was hailed as a savior. His strategic vision had saved not just Athens, but perhaps the nascent ideals of Western civilization from Persian domination. He had transformed Athens into the leading naval power of the Aegean, forever altering its destiny and influence. Athens began its golden age, its formidable naval might securing its influence and expanding trade routes across the Aegean. The city rose from its ashes, stronger and more confident than ever before. The foundations of its future democracy and unparalleled cultural flourishing were laid, all thanks to the strategic foresight of one man. Yet, Themistocles' story is also one of political intrigue and tragic downfall. His ambition, once a saving grace for Athens, eventually became his undoing. Accused of treason and ostracized by the very city he saved, he fled to Persia, the empire he once valiantly fought against, seeking refuge. Ironically, he found refuge with Xerxes' son, Artaxerxes I, who reportedly granted him governorships and immense wealth. The man who orchestrated Persia's greatest naval defeat ended his days serving its emperor, a testament to the shifting tides of ancient politics and the unpredictable nature of personal fortunes. His death, likely from natural causes in Magnesia, ended a life of incredible highs and lows. While his final resting place is debated, the legacy of his strategic genius remains undeniable. He was a complex, flawed hero, a political survivor, and an unparalleled master of naval warfare whose impact echoed through history. Themistocles' story reminds us that pivotal moments in history often hinge on the bold, sometimes unpopular decisions of extraordinary individuals. His strategic brilliance at Salamis didn't just win a battle, it secured the future of a nascent civilization, shaping the course of Western history and its democratic ideals forever.